This is part 2 of our series on understanding ratios. Watch part 1 for an introduction to ratios before starting part 2. So in this part, we're going to look at some ratio problems. And one of the most common problems in ratios is where you're given a ratio, imagine 2 to 3. Let's say this is a ratio of apples to oranges in a fruit basket. So you're given a ratio 2:3, and then you're given the value of one of the values. So you can think of this as units. So we can even draw our bar model. And these 2 units, they represent apples, and these 3 units, they represent oranges, with 2 to 3. So imagine you're told that in that fruit basket, you have 20 apples. And then you'll be asked how many oranges are in the basket. Okay, so this should be an O for oranges. So in a fruit basket with a ratio of apples to oranges of 2:3, and there are 20 apples in the basket, how many oranges are in the basket? So this is where our explanation of equivalent ratios is really important. Remember what we said, whatever you do to one value, you also do to the other value. Okay, so what has been done to 2 to get 20 apples? So it's 2, it has been multiplied by 10 to get 20 apples. You do the same to the other value. You have 30 oranges. So your fruit basket has 30 oranges. Or imagine you had a class where the ratio of boys to girls is 5:7, and you're told that the number of boys in the class is 15. How many girls are in the class? So again, remember equivalent fractions, whatever you do to one value, you do to the other. So what has been done to 5 to get 15? This is the value, the units, the number of units of boys. So it has been multiplied by 3 to get 15. That means we do the same for the ratio representing girls, for the ratio value representing girls. So we have 21 girls, and it's as simple as that. The other common problem is sharing, where you share a value, you're given now the total. So again, we're going to go with the fruit basket. Now imagine in our fruit basket, we are told that it has 30, now that 30 fruits. We're told that our fruit basket has 30 fruits. And then you're told to share. You share these fruits in the ratio 2:3. So that's what you're told. The fruit basket has 30 fruits. Share these fruits in the ratio 2:3. Now, this is where our bar model helps visualize what we're talking about. What's the total number of units in the basket? We have 5. So 5 represents the total number of fruits in the basket. And that's why we have 5 shares here, or 5 units. You can think of them as units. And then we know that you're told to share in the ratio of 2:3. But remember, all these units are the same, they are equal. So in total, you're sharing 30 among 5 units. It's 30 you divided by 5, and you get a total of 6. That means each unit will get 6 fruits in total. So now it's easy to calculate. The value of 2 in our ratio gets 12 because there are 2, and the value of 3 gets 18 because 6 times 3, 18. So if we share 30 fruits in the ratio 2:3, you get 12 and 18. In other words, this is the equivalent. If you would write it as a ratio, it's 2:3 is a simplified version of this. Here's another example. You're told to share 15 centimeters in the ratio 1:2. How do you share that? Again, you start by the total number of units in your ratio. And the total number of units here is 1 plus 2, which is 3. So we're sharing 15 centimeters among 3 units, which is 15 divided by 3, you get 5. Now we have 5, each unit gets 5. So this one, because it's just 1, it's 5, 5 times 1. And this one is 2, you get 10. So it's 5 and 10. Because we have each unit is worth 5 centimeters. And then this one is 1, so 5 times 1, and then 5 times 2. Another example, imagine yourself to share shillings 100 in the ratio 7 to 3. That's the ratio we are sharing our money. So again, total number of units, 7 plus 3, 10. And then we share this 100 shillings among the total units. 100 divided by 10, which is equal to 10. So now 10 we multiply by 7. Remember our bar model, right? We have 10 units. And then you have 7. And remember, each unit is worth 10 shillings because there were 10 units and we are sharing 100 shillings among 10 units. So each is worth 10 shillings, 10 shillings. So 7 of them will be worth 70 shillings. And 3 of them will be worth 30 shillings. Something to remember when sharing totals into ratios is that you may not always have the luxury of working with whole numbers. Take for example, you're told to share 10 ml into the ratio 1 to 3. So the total number of units here that you're sharing the 10 ml among is 1 plus 3 is 4. Now 10, so we are sharing 10 ml among 4 units. That will be 10 divided by 4. So we can turn this to a decimal. This is go 2 times. Then we have 8. Then we have 2. Put a decimal there. We add a 0, 5. So it's 2.5 ml. So this is what each unit is worth in our total units of 4. So now to share 10 ml into the ratio 1 to 3, you take 2.5 ml, the value of each unit, and you multiply by the value of the ratio. So 2.5 ml times 1, which is 2.5, and 2.5 ml times 3, which is 7. If I'm not wrong, it's 7.5. So ml, and that's how they share. And if you want to check that your answer is correct, you can always add up the totals here and see if you'll get the initial total. So if we add these two here, it's 5 plus 5 is 10, 0, carry 1, 10.0 ml. Okay, so let's tackle a word question that involves sharing. Ed has 30 sweets. The ratio of red sweets to yellow sweets is 2 to 3. How many red sweets does Ed have? Ed has 30 sweets. This is the total. The ratio of red sweets to yellow sweets, so red sweets to yellow sweets is 2 to 3. How many red sweets does Ed have? So how many red sweets does Ed have? So of course we're going to share, this is the total. We want to share it into the ratio 2 to 3 to figure out how many red sweets are there and how many yellow sweets are there. So what's the total value of our ratio? Is 2 plus 3, which is 5. And then we take the total and divide it here. 30 divided by 5 is 6. So you have 6, the value of the individual units, right? So you can think of these 2 plus 3 as, so these 2 are the red sweets, and these 3 units representing 3 in the ratio are the yellow sweets. And then remember, each unit is worth 6 sweets. That's the value of each unit. So if red has 2 units and each unit is worth 6, that means the number of red sweets is 6 times 2, which is 12 red sweets. And of course, if you also want to find the value of the yellow sweets, there are 3 of them, 3 units, so it's 6 times 3, which is 18. Here's one more involving 3 values. Mark is making concrete. Concrete is made by mixing cement, sand, and gravel in the ratio 1 to 2 to 3. Mark wants to make 300 kilograms of concrete. So now let's write down the information that we have. So the ratio, so we have 1 to 2 to 3. So this is the ratio of our cement, sand, and gravel. I'm just going to represent them using letters. So and then you tell the total of concrete. So all these combine to make concrete. And the total concrete that they want to make is 300 kilogram of concrete. So now the first question, how much cement does Mark need? How much cement does Mark need? So the first thing is within the value, the total of our ratio, which is 1 plus 2 plus 3. You need 1 unit of cement, 2 units of sand, and 3 units of gravel. So in total, you need 6 units. That's what these need to combine together to make 300 kilograms. So what is the value of a single unit? Just 300 kilogram, you divide by 6. The value of a single unit is 50 kilograms. So now we can distribute these 50 kilograms into our individual units, because this is the value of 1 unit. So of course cement is just 1 unit, so that's it will be 50 kilogram of cement. So we have 2 units of sand, so that's 2 times 50. That means we'll need 100 kilograms of sand. And then we have 3 units of gravel. That means we'll need 50 times 3, which is 150 kilograms of gravel. And you can add this up to see whether they add up to 300 kilograms. So we have 150 plus 50, that's 200, and then you add 100, and you get 300 kilograms. The final thing we are going to tackle in this series is fractions and decimals. No, it's fractions and percentages. So turning ratios to fractions and percentages. So again, we're going to start with a very simple ratio of 2:3. And we're going to use our Bohr model to visualize this. So how many units in total? It's 5, and we can have them here. So 2:3 is the ratio of apples to oranges in a fruit basket. What's the fraction of apples in the basket? So you take the value 2, and what's the total number of units? It's 2 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 5. Or the total number of values 2 plus 3, which is 5. And the total number of oranges is 3 out of the total, which is 5. And then what if you're told to convert this into percentages? What's the percentage of apples in the fruit basket? You simply take the fraction, just 2 over 5, and you multiply it by 100 to convert it into a percentage. So you can divide this by 5, 1, divide by 5, 20. 20 multiplied by 2 is 40. So that means that we have 40% of the fruits in the basket are apples. And then to get the value of oranges, you can also multiply the percentage of oranges, you can multiply it by 100, which will be the remainder of this percentage, which is 60%. We can also have 3 values. Let's say we have x, y, and z. So this, the ratio of 3 of this is 2 to 3 to 5. Then you're asked what's the fraction of z, and you can write it as 5. So the first thing is you find the total value of the ratio. So you add the three units together, 2 plus 3 plus 5, which is 10. So the total number, the fraction of z is 5 over the total, and you can simplify this to get a half, because you divide by 5 1, you divide by 5 2, so it's a half. So a half of the value of the ratio, z represents a half of the ratio. And if you were to represent this as a percentage, you simply take the half, you multiply it by 100 to get 50%. If we take, for example, 3, the fraction of 3 of y is 3 over the total, which is 10. And to simply convert this to percentage, you multiply by 100 by 10 1 by 10 10. So get it 30%. So to convert a ratio into a fraction, you take the one value over the total value. You add up the values in the ratio. You add up the values in the ratio, so you get 2 out of 5. Then to convert it into a percentage, you take the fraction and you multiply it by 100. So that's the end of our series on understanding ratios. I might do another video tackling some tricky word questions and word problems involving ratios. But for now, this is all a grade 5, 6, and 7 student needs to know about ratios. Now, of course, they can get a lot more complicated. You can have fractions, you can have decimals. So, and I can do another video where we look at some tricky problems involving all those. But for now, this is the end. If you have any particularly challenging question that your child has been struggling with, you can send it in. I can include it in the next video. So if you really love this series, give us a follow, give us a thumbs up. It tells me to make more of this. And thank you so much for watching.